Not a scientist. I'm not an expert in footballs. I'm not an expert in football measurements.
I don't want anyone rubbing them, putting any air in them, taking any air out. To me, those balls are perfect, and that's what I expect when I throw.
I can't throw it on the football. It's so goddamn hard about holding on to it.
Around 4 years ago, two best friends embarked upon a journey to build a name, a brand, a podcast within the spaces of the wild, wild west fantasy football landscape. During that time, we have helped the anywhere from 5 to 25 people who listen to this podcast obtain stacks of cash along with fantasy glory. And today, under the looming threat of World War III and the trillions of dollars which were wiped from the stock and crypto markets today, we begin season 5 of the Fantasy Millionaires. Time to get it all back. Stacks LFG.
But you're singing my language. I'm so excited for the 5th season of the Fantasy Millionaires. We are not millionaires yet, but we're thousandaires. We have been racking up the wins, 20-plus championships between us in the last 4 years. You've had a couple more than me, but I've been coming on strong. I beat you head-to-head last year. I am so excited for this year. I got to tell you guys, I've been working. I got a notebook here, not just stickers, but inside I've got every team. I've done a little deep dive on every team so far. So I've got some foundational knowledge. I got all my projections. They're preseason projections, but they're in too. So I am jacked, as the kids say, up on Mountain Dew, and I'm fucking ready to go this year, bro. Let's go. Oh yeah, I forgot my sunglasses. I got to do that too. Hold on. There we go. Now I'm fucking ready to go. Woo!
There's my guy.
Want to see the whites of my eyes? I'm so excited. It's all true.
Got those wild eyes going.
Man, dude, I'm so excited. No lie, man. I've dropped 20 pounds. Haven't eaten since we saw each other last. Since we last podcasted, not one morsel of food has come into my mouth because I'm so hungry for football. I've been drinking water.
On stats.
That's it. Just nothing. So
yeah,
I'm ready to go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Jabin on Twitter. You're the man.
Yep. One of the 7 people who listen. Love you so much.
Yeah, he's one of the best. Yeah. Well, listen, this is the thing. We're like the best kept secret in fantasy football. If you can kind of get through some of the funniness and the silliness in the first 10 minutes of the show and get into the content, it's K Magnifique. Every year we go up and down. We give you the wire every week, give you who to pick up, right? And this is Monday night. So you're fresh for the week. You're already thinking about it. We talk about trades to get paid. We talk about the trades you're going to get, the value, sell high, buy low, sell low, all these different things we go over every single week, right? And then we also do DFS. We talk about your
elevate, mitigate, eviscerate.
Oh yeah, we do elevate, mitigate, eviscerate, right? We talk about who you're going to start, sit. That might be the most important part of the show. Who you're going to play, who you're going to sit. And if you listen to the advice, normally we're at 4 out of 5 correct in both. So 80% hit rate, 75% hit rate for us, which is tremendous. And you don't believe us? Just listen this year, see what happens. I know that I've won a lot of championships doing my strategies, and you have won more. So I'm excited, bro. I'm just
stacks of cash. That's part of the season long, and then we always do a little BS at the beginning and a little BS at the end. So
a little X-rated, a little triple X.
Yeah, X-rated, baby.
It used to be 3 tweets. Yeah, it's X-rated now. So, but here's what we're going to do today. We're going to BS, like we said, and then we're going to get into the top 24. So, but before that, I want to ask you, what has stood out to you so far in the couple of weeks of training camp that you've been, ear to the grind, getting back into it? What's popping in old, Cash's ear?
I guess the thing I'm sort of on pins and needles about, and it does seem like there was another interesting nugget drop today, is the Brandon Ayuk saga. I saw something. I mean, things are just getting up. This was an hour ago. The Pittsburgh Steelers are reportedly in the final stages of negotiations to acquire wide receiver Brandon Ayuk from the San Francisco 49ers. The deal is expected to be finalized soon, as both teams appear highly motivated to reach an agreement. For some reason, he wouldn't go to Cleveland. He wanted to go to Pittsburgh. I don't know. I don't understand the motivation there. But I don't understand the motivation at all why leave the Niners? I mean,
It's because of the payday. They have to pay Trent Williams right now. Trent Williams is holding out BTW. We'll talk about
Mhm.
Christian McCaffrey and how he's the consensus 101, but without Trent Williams, that's not good for the team. It's not good for Purdy. And you'll say, oh, yeah, Trent Williams will be in. Trent Williams did stuff with the then Redskins or Commanders, whatever they were, on the ball back in the day. He takes no prisoners. That's a man's man right there. So there's some rumblings in San Francisco. And by the way, shout out Warren Sharp. I got one of his products this year. They've got like the worst schedule this year when it comes to the time they have to rest. They got no rest this year. They're just getting banged over with no rest. They got like negative 21 rest days compared to the average or compared to the next team. It's not good for them. So it's really interesting to see. But if Ayuk leaves, changes the whole situation. Kittle might be tight end 2 or 3. Debo, top 10 wide receiver right away. And McCaffrey already cemented as the 101. Maybe some of those handcuffs come in a little bit more important. And you got, Pearsall, the rookie, coming in too. And, Juwan Jennings demanded a trade. He might be out after Ayuk. So, yeah, San Francisco, wow, you lose 2 Super Bowls and things start just, they churn.
Yeah, I don't know what else. There's a lot of Malik Neighbors buzz. What's popping to you?
I noticed, we'll talk about this too when we talk about the first round picks, but both CeeDee Lamb and Jahmyr Chase are sitting out. Ayuk too, right? They're just not practicing. It's like this whole little group of guys are just like walking around, like bullshitting and, coaching guys up and talking to people and stuff, but they're not practicing with their quarterbacks. And so, they're both first round picks. And then you got people like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, who are kind of like, a little bit underneath them, right around them. And they are practicing, right? They got paid. They're good to go. They are in. And so I think it comes, when you're drafting these guys, the start and the finish both matter, but you want to win the first couple of weeks, right? You don't want your guy to not been in camp the whole time, not have any reps, not have any routes, go out there with an unfresh Dak. The first couple of weeks of the season, Dak was terrible last year. He was on the waiver wire. People were picking him up. I eviscerated him so many times, it was a joke, right? Until he kind of got picked up, maybe week 8, right? But no CeeDee Lamb, you don't want that in the beginning of the season. Same with Jahmyr Chase. You don't want that either. And both situations, the owner has shared that they're probably not going to get anything done before the season starts. So it does kind of warrant, you want your wide receiver happy. Your wide receiver 1 happy if you're your first pick too. So I think that kind of is, I'm interested. We don't have to talk. It's called the Tease, kids. We'll talk about it when we get into these guys, but that's kind of the little thing looming behind some of these great picks. I think the first couple picks all have issues kind of behind the scenes, except for Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, even Breece Hall's got some issues we'll get to. So, this is good. This is a great beginning of the season, round 1, round 2. I got a football boner. I'm not going to lie, kids. It's been.
Well, yeah, I mean, so that's the plan pre-season is we're going to do rounds 1 through 2. Then how are we breaking it down? Is 2 through 4? Is that the next?
I think 3 through 5, 6 through 8,
3 through
and
5.
then something like that. And then like 9 through, sleepers, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to go all the way up to,
Up to your
round
draft.
14, round 15, something like that.
We'll get you there.
Yeah, we have from now until September 6th, is it? Is that Thursday Night Football? So yeah, this is rounds 1 through 2. And I don't know, we can jump in. I'm definitely interested to hear. So the way this is a Fantasy Millionaires term. We do braids and fades, right? So the idea when we're going through these rounds is that we're trying to, in rounds 1 and 2, round 1 is the anchor of your team. So you're building a team around this person. So it's the preceding picks are braids, right? Because you're building this, team that's woven together intricately through the fabric of your players. So that's the braid, and then obviously the fade is the fade. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts. We have not discussed. We like to not discuss so we can suss out how the other one is thinking and get data from each other. I mean, it's what we like to do. So help each other get better. So yeah, man. Where are you at with McCaffrey?
Well, I do think, like I teased a little bit earlier, that Trent Williams is super duper important. He is all pro 3 years in a row, something like that. Like this guy, when we know being in Washington, what a man beast he is. And I love all the compilation videos on Twitter or TikTok or Twitch or whatever's hot with the kids, the Discord, the chat, whatever, where they just put music behind him roughhousing people, and sometimes after the whistle, or like before the Cleveland game last year when Debo and Ayuk were kind of getting chippy with some of the DBs. Dude just comes in like a bull and throws men around like nothing. So I think he is the key to this, right? So as soon as he breaks, I'm cool with McCaffrey at the 101. I think he is far and away better. He scored 100 more points than any other running back, right? So if you're going RB, if you're an RB truther, a hero RB, or just getting the best player, I think McCaffrey's 23 touchdowns were ridiculous, 7 receiving, he had 2 passing. He had, what was he, a quarterback? And then he had 16 rushing. So 23 touchdowns is a lot of touchdowns. So I only projected him for 20 this year, but he's still far and away the RB1. So I think it's kind of hard to go wrong with CMC. He just got married. He's in it. This is a team that is his. They designed efficient plays. They've got a great coach who knows what they're doing, and they know how to use them effectively. And I read something about his offensive line coach and just talking about how they can be more effective. And with Christian McCaffrey's a perfectionist. He's looking at the gap schemes, going, "I've messed up. I made mistakes." So he's the one in the room looking at this. I think he's still a great pick at the 101. How about you?
Do you have any? We don't know all our draft picks in all the different leagues yet, but do you have any 101s yet in any leagues?
I did. I took Christian McCaffrey in Scott
You did?
Fishbowl. Yeah,
in Scott Fishbowl. Okay.
Yeah. So I did take him. This is the thing about him, and this is his matchup. He's got some tough matchups this year, but you got to think some of these games are going to be shootouts for sure. Chicago, the Rams, Miami, Tampa Bay. Arizona, they're going to need to score a bunch of points in these games. And here are his PPR points last year: 41, 25, 39, 29, 20, 21. His low mark's 13, right? Which is not great, but 48, 25. This guy, he just eats. And I don't see anybody else taking those carries from him at all. So, yeah.
Let me say this. This is one thing I was thinking about getting ready for this show, and see if you feel the same way. This is my favorite first round ever.
It's a great first round.
Dude, it's a great first round. I think if you're in the front, 7 picks too. I don't mind taking any one of those players. Pull up the list of 4 for 4 and let's look at the board. Okay, so you got
McCaffrey 1, CeeDee
Tyreek Hill, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Chase, Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Any of those, I'm comfortable with all those guys.
Yeah, first 8 just look really, really sexy. So as we move through, I'm going to tell you where I'm gonna fade, but the first round to me, like if you go back, let's see last year's first round ADP was Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Chase, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, bust, CeeDee Lamb, Davante Adams, bust, Cooper Kupp, bust, Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, bust, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, bust, Chris Olave, bust. Like, and this is this is the the danger of fantasy football. Some of those busts are injuries, but some of those busts were just too much hype around players.
Agreed.
Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, those are
we have some of that this year too, though. And the thing about
look at our top 12 here.
Can I give you some hype in the top 12? Can I throw some shade on your top 12 a little bit?
Okay. Who do you want to throw shade on?
I'll tell you, but I'm going to give you some data real quick because I'm nimble with numbers, and that's what I like to back things up on, not just my feelers, right? Let's talk about CMC. Last year, averaged 24.5 fantasy points per game, right? Okay, he's elite. CeeDee Lamb, 23.7. That's elite. Tyreek Hill, 23.5. They're all up there above 20. Okay. Your boy Breece Hall, 17.1. But the last 5 games, 25.8, right? So
dude,
you see it.
To me,
he's in the
argument for number 1.
He's in the group. I know he's in the group, right? But now it gets a little dicey, bro. Right? I don't want to be rude, but it gets a little dicey. Jahmyr Chase has finished in the 3 years he's played fantasy football, 11th, 11th, and 5th out of wide receivers, not flex, right? Just out of wide receivers.
Right.
He's averaged 17.9, 20.2, 16.4 points, right? And that's okay. That's great. He's going above Justin Jefferson, who he should not be going above, no matter what, because Justin Jefferson eats 17.1, 19.4, 21.7, and even last year where he was injured, 20.2. He's averaging 3 to 4 or 5 points more than somebody who's going 3 picks or 2 picks before him. Switch that around. I know people do not like the quarterback situation. I know there's flux. Who cares? There was flux last year. There was garbage last year, and he still had 20 fantasy points per game. They just gave him the bank and the house, and Ja'Marr Chase doesn't have the bank or the house yet. He's still trying to get it. Once he gets it, okay, then I'm okay with that pick. But right now, Justin Jefferson is better and has produced more, and 300 points is the most that my guy Ja'Marr Chase has scored. That's it. That's all he scored. That's the most 302 points, right? That Justin Jefferson does that for breakfast. He had 330 points and he had 368 points, right? So I got to say, Justin Jefferson, I would switch those two guys, and I put Amon-Ra St. Brown above them too. That guy finished 3rd last year. That guy is part of the crew as well when it comes to averaging.
Getting better. You know, it's interesting.
20.7 fantasy points per game. I am drafting him after Justin Jefferson. So for me, my top 3 or 5 for wide receivers.
Right, go through your top. All right, let's look at the top 8. Okay,
yeah.
You give me your ranks and
right now.
that.
If I'm drafting Christian McCaffrey first, right,
okay.
And then I'm drafting Tyreek Hill second because CeeDee Lamb.
Crazy you come off CeeDee Lamb, because I remember when the season over, you're like, I'm
here's the thing.
CeeDee Lamb number 1.
He's not. It's all about. It's week 2 of preseason, right? But he is part of the crew that is just walking around on the sidelines, not doing anything. Right? He's not in football shape. He's not repping. He's not grinding. He's not doing anything. And so that's just not what I want to hear. Right? For me, I don't want to hear it. So Tyreek Hill, he's finished the last couple years. And this is where if I'm going for safety, right? I'm an old guy now. This is what he's finished last 4 years. Ready? Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 6. Bad year. Wide receiver 2. I am okay with Tyreek Hill being my wide receiver 1 because he is going to finish in the top 5. That's all I need for sure, right? And I do think CeeDee Lamb will too, but right now it's a touchdown or 2 difference, right? And CeeDee Lamb is just a tiny, tiny bit behind. He's still ahead of everybody else, right? He's still ahead of Justin Jefferson. He's still ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown for me, right? But he's second. So I'd go CeeDee Lamb second or third. I'd switch these two. I would take Breece Hall with the 4th pick, and then I would take Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Well, Bijan Robinson too. We'll talk about Bijan as well. We'll get there in a minute. But yeah, I think I would move these 2 guys up, and I would just move Ja'Myr down. That's just my thought.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm with you on Tyreek. Okay. It's safety, like you said. When you have this, beginning of the 1st round pick, and there's just a perennial stud. That's why a lot of times, whatever the consensus 1 point, I don't think since we've started this show, I've ever faded the 1.01. Because the 1.01
earned it
is just the consensus safest pick. And you have to wait, 23 more picks for your next pick. So it's got to be safe. I think McCaffrey, very safe. I'm with you. I would go Tyreek Hill as well if I had the 2nd pick. But I'll tell you what, man. To me,
I like him in the 3rd pick in our league. And
well, to me, here's the thing. To me, I don't know. I'm all in on Breece Hall. Like, I honestly think Breece Hall is as safe of a pick as McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb. Like, those 4 to me are very safe.
Those are the top 4 safe picks, good picks The 4
Right.
picks, any order, I'm okay with it. Except I think I want CMC. Like if I'm number 1, I want to get CMC.
Yeah.
If I'm number 2, I'm hoping CMC falls to me. If he doesn't, I'm going Tyreek Hill. If I'm number 3, I hope Tyreek Hill or CMC fall to me. If they don't, I'm going Tyreek Hill, which I think I'm gonna do in our league. And then because I'm not an asshole in our league, I'm not gonna take Breece Hall. I hope you get him. Hope he falls to you. Hope other people jump and get Bijan. But I do want to say, and I want to hear your thoughts on this because we haven't compared anybody here. CeeDee, Lamb, and Tyreek, they're compatible. 181 targets, 175 targets. Tyreek Hill last 2 years, over 1,700 yards both years. He's averaging. Excuse me, I can't even say it. It's so voluminous. Voluminous. I can't even say that word either. So big. It's in my mouth. 17.5, 1,750 yards a year and 10 touchdowns. That's just that's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Right.
And so. Nothing you can do. CeeDee Lamb, he's right up there too. They're neck and neck, 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call him. Breece Hall is closer to Christian McCaffrey than we think. Even though last year 100 points separated him, I think it's not. I think it's less than that this year. And I like you getting Breece Hall or anybody getting Breece Hall in the top 3 picks. If you get him number 2, number 3, or number 4, right? I'm okay with that too. I'm not okay with Ja'Marr Chase here at number 5. And Bijan, okay. So I want to hear your thoughts on Bijan before I weigh in because I was all in on Bijan too, but then I've heard some backtracking, particularly with offensive coordinator Zach Robinson saying some things last week. And so I wanted just to, where are you on Bijan? Are you taking him 3? Because I'm okay with taking him 3, but some people are going to be thinking they can take him ahead of CMC or ahead of Breece Hall, right? I've seen people, I've seen people jumping the gun, being new CMC. Which people want to do. They want to be ahead of the curve. They want to tip of the spear, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm lockstep with you. I think we got to go back to the Justin Jefferson, Ja'Marr Chase, Amon Ra discussion because I think my rankings are a little different there. But when it comes to Bijan, to me, I'm higher than 4 for 4 rankings on Saquon. I could see myself going Saquon over Bijan.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, he's probably in the first round, one of my biggest fades. But again, this is why I said this year I love this first round. I'm not scared to take him, but he of the people in the first round, I think he is my biggest fade, just because of the Tyler Algier situation.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and I was gonna add. Zach Robinson said last week that good old Tyler Algier will have a big role and leaned on at certain points during the season. You're not leaning on somebody who has a little role in the offense, and so goal line work.
It's the modern NFL, that's why. This is why, to me, I would make the argument that Breece Hall could be 2, or 1, 2 or 1. I think Hero RB is a great way to draft. I love it, but as we continue to move into the future, the idea of a hero RB becomes more and more scarce, because the modern NFL is they have a great back, they draft a great back. Like they just they're running backs careers are not long, and if you have a great back, you want to limit his carries. I mean, that's just the way it works now. So I understand the sentiment with Tyler Algier. Like, he's good, and and then you have really a superstar with Bijan Robinson, and you can find ways to use both of those guys on offense. So to me, he takes a hit.
I agree. And also, you're not going to use him up if you think you now have somebody who can get you to the playoffs. They were, a middling team. Were they 7-9, 7-10 the last couple of years? So they could switch a couple of those wins with Kirk Cousins over Taylor Heineke. Is that They
they got Michael Penix now, right? Too.
Yeah, he's there
we'll
too. So even if old, what did he hurt? What occurred? His Achilles, old Achilles.
Yeah, he hurt his Achilles.
Ooh, we'll talk. Well, here's the thing too. Breece Hall not as dependent on the QB, right? As you saw our guy Garrett Wilson. He was super dependent on the QB last year. He was drafted in the same spot, end of the first round, and he was like wide receiver 27, right? So he off a cliff. Breece Hall, on the other hand, RB2. So he's kind of like, okay, even if old Achilles himself goes out in New York, okay, I'm not even worried about it. Whereas as soon as Wilson lost him, it was over for him. So yeah, I like the Breece Hall. I don't like Bijan as much, but I'm okay with him if I want to get him later in the first round. But actually, Jonathan Taylor is ahead for me of him. I'm a Jonathan Taylor guy, and I'll tell you why. Because last year, Jonathan Taylor on only 44% of the RB carries finished as the RB12, right? Because he remember he held out in the beginning of the year. He did I'm not going to get a contract. I don't want to play. So they just like, okay, fuck you. I'm not going to play, right? And they put Zach Moss in there. So if he gets 65% of the carries this year, he's going to be a top 5 back. So I am okay with Jonathan Taylor over our guy Bijan in the first round. And I think Bijan and Gibbs are right there for me. I think they're a coin flip too. So, but I think Taylor's going to be ahead for me. I do like once he gets in there. You can see once he gets in, he did a good job, right? 20, 17, 27, 14, 18 points. So, I mean, they just didn't play him for the first part of the season. They just didn't give him a lot of touches. They gave him 6, 8, So it was, you held out, you sucked, you didn't get to play. So I'm okay with him this year, though. And I think he's a good bounce back candidate. And if I'm in the back half of the draft, I will draft Jonathan Taylor. So let's pivot back, though, because what do you think? Are you okay with that? Because I mean, I don't want to co-sign that for you.
Yeah, I think I would. I said he's my biggest fade, and I think to me, part of the reason why is, I would go Jonathan Taylor. I think over Bijan, in all my drafts. That's where I'm at with it as well. It's just, again, it's volume and opportunity, and Jonathan Taylor last year having to deal with this, amazing season Zach Moss kept having to, and he was still dealing with injuries. But if you remember, was it 2021 where he was your league winner, he was just redonk.
He's a beast.
Yeah. I mean, that was a season where it was like one of the greatest seasons ever. And then has dealt with injuries ever since. But he's good to go, and he doesn't have to deal with really any other back. And this is why I like Saquon too. I love the running quarterback. I just think it frees up that offense in so many different ways. Where if you have a really, I'll put it to you this way:
play the whole line.
If you put Bijan on the Colts, I'm taking Bijan. It's like,
they got a better line. It's true.
Yeah, they have a great line. So, to me, Bijan's he's still just got so much hype. Coming off, being one of the greatest running backs of all time in college, and looking really good, his first year. But and then all the, Arthur Smith, blaming, but I think he's too high. So I'm with you.
Yeah. So for both of us, Bijan is a fade and Jonathan Taylor is a braid. If we're switching those up, I agree. Let's talk about, I did a big diatribe. If you weren't listening to the show earlier, shame on you, and go back and listen to it. But it was basically saying that this is messed up. This stack here is messed up. Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown should be ahead of Ja'Marr Chase. He should be down here. He's not really earned wide receiver 3. He's never even finished that high. So what do you think, though? Because I know you're a Joe Burrow believer. You believe in Joe B. So
I am.
Tell me, what have you seen? Because here's the thing. They brought back our boy T. Don't call me poor Higgins anymore because he made like $18 million, which is terrible. I said he was going to do this last year on the show too. I said, "Oh, T. Higgins, terrible. He's going to make $18 million last year, which is way more money he's ever made in the first 4 years of his life in the NFL." But whatever, so, or 3 years, whatever it was. So poor him. He's a millionaire, moreover. But he's going to be there too, and he's a big target in the red zone. Like that's one of the things he is. You got Mike Gesicki there too, and then also they got Burton they drafted. So I don't know. Like I'm not as Ja'Marr Chase committed. So sell me on this because Justin Jefferson has the stats, right? You can't argue with the stats. Nothing you can do about it. So I want to hear your spin.
Well, here's the thing. I think so. First of all, somebody in the X Twitter sphere landscape just put it out. It was like, would you draft CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill, if they were missing Tua or Dak, right? Like, and I mean,
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't know. Justin Jefferson, to me, is he a better wide receiver than Ja'Marr Chase? Maybe by like the way that 100-meter dash just went in the Olympics. Like, I mean, a thousandth of a second better. I mean, they are comparable dudes in terms of talent. And the stats are, Ja'Marr Chase rookie season, one of the greatest rookie seasons ever. 1,400 yards, 81 receptions, 13 TDs, right? Like that's, I mean, what Puka just broke that record. I mean, he has the talent to do what Justin Jefferson has done, getting 1,800 yards. I think he has the talent to do that. And he has a much better quarterback. And so there has been some contemplation getting ready for this podcast because, I caught you and Bo and Jorge. I've been listening to all your wide receiver 2 theory content. And I know you're scared with Burrow, and I've gone back and forth too, right? Because that injury, what did you say on the podcast? Like no other quarterbacks ever had this injury. Is that
something like that? Yeah.
Right.
It's a unique injury. So
it's a unique injury.
I'm not even worried about that injury because Jorge kind of put that to bed. I'm worried about, I think Ja'Marr Chase is that wide receiver if there's no T. Higgins. I think as soon as T. Higgins comes in there, it just kind of diminishes it a little bit. It just kind of like.
Yeah, but you have to go back to the LSU connection, bro. He's the red zone guy, dude.
I know. Like, he's the guy. He's the guy. I think in the end, it'll be close. But I think Justin Jefferson, just Jordan Addison will not.
All right, let's do our first fake $1,000 bet of the season. Right. I will bet you.
Yes, Ja'Marr Chase
finishes ahead of Justin Jefferson.
And James says no matter what, it's Chase. Yeah. People are against me. I knew they would be. The data is betraying you guys, but I knew the feelings would be heavy. You're
not acknowledging, like, I memean, you've been a Kirk Cousins truther along with me for many years now as my co-host. Yes. Like. I think Sam Darnold could be serviceable. I'm interested. And here's the thing. I think Kevin O'Connell is a great coach. They do things on offense. But how about the fact, I mean, they may be missing Addison for some time. They don't have Hawkinson. Defenses can scheme for an alpha wide receiver. Like, you can just put a lot of coverage on his side of the field. You can design a defense to try and shut down a superstar. They don't have the weapons. So to me, that works against him. Plus, he doesn't have good quarterbacks. You need to get first downs. So to me, the Bengals, if Joe Burrow, who based on, the last week of me deep diving into this,
he lives.
I think he's all good. I think he's all good. I think he's Joey B. And honestly, I think Joey B is right there with Mahomes in terms of talent in this league. Like he's again, you know, kind of gotten hit by the injury bug, but if things are all good, I could see the Bengals going to the Super Bowl. I could see stacks of cash where I keep picking Joey B week after week after week. Like
it could be. It could be.
Yeah.
Now I will say this. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
So here's my ranking. Here's my ranking, by the way.
Give me your rankings.
You have it. JJ, ARSB, Ja'Marr Chase. I'm going to go Ja'Marr Chase, ARSB,
Justin Jefferson.
Yep, that's and only because I think Amon's safer. But I'm happy. I'm happy getting any one of those guys. I'm happy getting Justin Jefferson. I'm happy. He's so good. Even if defenses design, you know, their whole defense to stop him, he's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
he's going to be a problem.
We've not talked about Amon-Ra, but if you watch receiver, one thing I do appreciate about him is his grit, determination, and the chip on his shoulder is as big as
how about his
Buffalo.
abs? That's what I appreciate.
Well,
that was my favorite. My favorite part was watching him rip off his shirt that one time when he was wearing that weird costume, and then you got to just see him loaded. He's just top to bottom. You know, it was wild for me watching that. I'm still not done. I have like a few more episodes, or I don't know how many episodes left. But I slept on how strong that dude was. Like, I mean, regardless, all these guys are just freaks, but he's a little bit thicker than what I thought. You know, like so. Right. To me, he got an upgrade in my rankings. Watching him squatting like 405 one time and watching him doing reps at 315 and then just watching him rip his shirt off with his like 18 pack and then finding out his dad was a power lifter and homeboy's been lifting weights his whole life is thicker than what his uniform belies, right? Like
it looks slight. It looks like a little, you know.
I always had him like he's thicker than JJ, right? Like dude,
he's a beast.
He's solid. So yeah, to me, he's a nice safe pick. And his upward trajectory in terms of skill, every year he's gotten better. So I like that's why I'm saying I love this first round.
You know what I mean?
There's just a lot of guys right in these first 8 picks that you're just like, it's sexy.
7 out of 9 weeks to end the season, he caught a touchdown. That's just, I mean, it's ridiculous. I love him. And one of my favorite things about him is he recites the names of all the guys that get drafted ahead of him every time he goes out for practice.
Yeah.
Not just the games, not just the road games. Every time he puts his cleats on, he goes, remember these motherfuckers who got drafted before me? I do. And I'm going to go out there. I'm going to prove that we are not the same. And that just, to me, that just is, it's the dog in him. I love it. So it's
he got that dog. He's got an X-ray because there's dogs.
Yeah. So Ja'Marr Chase has the dog too. We're splitting dog hairs here, really, honestly. Right? So speaking of the dog, we all know AJ Brown is a full grown ass man and he's got the dog in him. He's super reliable too. He got 28% target share last year, which is just magnifique. And him and Devonta Smith are both just undervalued normally. But I think right here, he's pretty valued. This is pretty much right where he should be. I love it. Nothing wrong. Get him if you're, excuse me, I'm dying over here. Get him if you're there. Nothing wrong with this pick. Solid pick. He's not a fade or a braid. He's a solid brick in the wall. If you're just, where you're going, if you can't get Jonathan Taylor or, if you can't get Amon-Ra or any of the other guys before, you're passing on Bijan, you're looking for a wide receiver,
Yeah. So all right, let's start moving into the end of the first, the beginning of the second. So I'm sliding Bijan down towards the end.
Me too.
Jahmyr Gibbs is looking really sexy to me. He's got
a Monty situation a little bit there too on the goal line.
Well, he had the Monty situation last year, and an interesting note. Let me just double check and verify.
Give us your data, good sir.
Okay. Teams.
While you're doing that, I'll just say he did average 16.1 points, finishes the RB8 as a rookie, and he had 6 20-plus point performances and 11 TDs. He's one Monty injury away from RB number 1 territory in my
So I think this is an interesting thing to pay attention to as a fantasy player. It's just simple, but I always go to our lads for the depth chart, right?
A little bit of our lads, yes.
Yeah, our lads, they give you the depth chart. You can go through, you can see, who's in the slot, blah blah blah. Who's first team, second team. Going off memory, last year the number 1 running back was David Montgomery. He was listed as the starter, and then Jahmyr Gibbs was the backup. It has now switched. Jahmyr Gibbs is listed as the 1. David Montgomery is the 2. So to me, that portends well. And we saw it last year. I mean, there was so much Jahmyr Gibbs hype. I got none of it, and was drafting Monty all over the place, and was watching that guy with just jaw-dropping, eye-bulging, just fear every time he got the ball, because I was just like, this guy might be the best running back in the NFL. I mean, he is that good, So to me, yeah, it's just a volume thing, and Montgomery's in the background. But I think, why is Bijan so high and Jahmyr Gibbs is so low in these first 2 rounds?
I think it's preseason hype. I mean, the offensive coordinator came out and said for Bijan, we see him in the CMC role. Well, yeah, let's do it. I mean, it's easy to say that, and that fuels hype. And all you have in the offseason, I listened to fantasy footballers earlier in the offseason, any type of information that would come out, they'd get hyped about it, and they'd be like, it's the nectar of the gods. And you take those things like a grain of salt now in the preseason, because there's so much news comes out. You're like, oh, okay, whatever. But,
well, the thing is that it was Bijan's team all year last long, and Jahmyr Gibbs had to play second fiddle. And it does seem, and we saw it, I think it was thanks to a David Montgomery injury for a week or 2 last year,
right,
where Jahmyr Gibbs got to step into the role, and he really never really relinquished it. Like it came back. Yeah, like as they started, gaining momentum and moving into the playoffs, they were just trying to get that ball in his hands as much as possible. So
yeah.
All right, how about this? Let's go to Puka. Where are we at with Puka? Because I think this is very interesting.
Puka and Marvin
in the first round.
All 3 of these guys, right? Puka, Garrett, and Marvin have issues in my book, but we'll start with Puka. Have you looked at Puka's splits when him and Cup are on the field at the same time?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, I know that
so 40% less receptions when Cup's on the field, 30% less targets, 28% less yards per game, right? And so if you just extrapolate his all of his data with Cooper Kupp on the field, he projects out to about 88, 90 catches, 5 or 6 touchdowns, still gets a lot of yards. Projects out to about 1,340, 50 yards. But that's about a wide receiver 10 to 13, which he's not. He's wide receiver 7. And so for me, you're taking the best that he had last year and you're saying, yeah, he's going to be around that this year. I don't think he'll be wide receiver 7 this year. I think he'll be wide receiver 12 or 13 maybe. But I can't, not with Kupp there. With Kupp there, he averages 5.2 to 3 less without him receptions a game. He had 8.6 when Kupp was not around, down to 5.2. That's not great. So yeah, I'm not doing it with Puka. If he drops to the middle of the second round, that's where he should be, in my opinion.
So I'm a huge Puka guy, and
I want to hear your Puka defense.
Yeah. So in terms of I think one of the favorite people to watch in the NFL is Puka. And I'm with you on the stats, playing it just based on the stats. But if you go back and you look at some of these games, there, his decrease in volume, in terms of fantasy points per game, there were a couple plays where he was like stopped at the 1 yard line. Like, I mean, those stats could look a little bit different in terms of like his touchdown and what he ended up with as a fantasy player. If the ball just bounced a little differently. So I'm not really that scared. Here is my fear of Puka because I am such a fan. He's breaking news. He's already got a knee injury.
No, I did not.
Oh, yep, got a knee injury. That happened today.
Okay.
Earlier this afternoon, Puka hurt his knee. It's not supposed to be a big deal.
Not great.
But I am nervous about Puka, the way he plays the game.
He's a rough boy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he's a tough guy.
There's certain people like for a long time I just wouldn't draft George Kittle, and he was always getting injured. And Puka gives me that vibe, right? Like he plays
hard.
He plays with abandon.
Yeah.
So I to me, I throw in Cooper Kupp fully healthy, 30 years old, 31 years old, not really old
not anymore.
Not in the modern, not with all that they have in terms of cold plunges and infrared heat baths and all of that.
Can I give you a little bit of some recourse to not be too worried, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the stats and you deep dive a little bit, I did throw some stats at you. 40% this, 30% this, whatever. Okay, but I'll get you a little bit deeper and get you the reflecting, critical thinking here. He was in the Cooper Kupp role when Cooper Kupp was gone. He was running more out of the slot. His target percentage or his reception percentage was 74% at the time he caught the football. When Kupp came back, he went more to the outside, and his percentage went down to 61%. But here's the other way. His yards per reception went up to 15.2.
And that's my favorite thing about him.
Yeah. So like what you get, and this is why I don't think he'll be as hurt as much. You're going to get more deep targets for him this year. You're not going to get as many over the middle crunching hits. That'll be Cooper Kupp's role. That's kind of back. That's what the slot does. Right. So I think that's good for you. If you're worried about him getting dinged up, if the knee, we'll see what happens. But I mean, just long term, he might not be in the position to get banged all the time. He might be flanking and just down the seam, and then you're on a smaller cornerback that you can outmuscle for a football. So I'm not against Puka. I think he's just maybe the 204, 203, 202. I'm okay there. Maybe getting him as my second wide receiver. I can't go wide receiver one with him there. I got to go AJ Brown. Yeah, and then nobody else really, man. I have some problems with Garrett Wilson too. But
Garrett Wilson gives me pause. I'm with you. So
he's so dependent on Aaron Rodgers. Like we already saw what the worst would be if it happened, and it did, right? So we already have a preview of what we can expect, and that just is risk, right? And then also, I mean, it's just bullshit, but I see him fighting on the sidelines already. You're just like, man, Aaron Rodgers, you went to the darkness, you went to Egypt, you know what I mean? You're an Egyptologist now. Like, come on, man, you gotta just chill out, but he seems strung. He seems a little bit, bent up too. So it just gives me pause if I'm going to pick him as my wide receiver one too. So Puka and Wilson, I'm kind of like, ugh, I don't like the back end of the draft if I'm getting those guys.
I was listening to a new podcast Scott Barrett recommended.
I saw that. I did not listen to it.
The Ringer.
Yes,
they're funny. They remind you of the footballers. Like they're like a younger version. They cuss more. They kept joking about how Aaron Rodgers, like their show somehow was themed with Zoolander, so they kept talking about how Aaron Rodgers reminded them of Hansel.
Yeah,
really
for sure, 100%.
Yeah, he's like, man, I just got back just chilling with spider monkeys,
just
off the
dripping acid on the Maldives, man.
Changed my whole perspective on things.
Right. Then he's over there cussing out Garrett Wilson, like.
All right, go back to the board. If you have, you've already got your anchor, and now it's down to Puka or Garrett Wilson. Who you taking?
Puka.
Pick anybody from Puka on, and
okay.
Wide receiver.
I don't really like these wide receivers. Honestly,
I don't either.
I hate them.
I throw Olave out of the second round for me.
I don't
fade.
like. Well, Davante Adams, man. Okay, let's talk for a second though, because you mentioned something about Saquon Barkley, because he is here at the end of the second or the end of the first, beginning of the second, 202 for Saquon. You said you think he should be up a little higher. I'm going to give you some stats, and I want you to tell me what you think about this, because I started deep diving on him because I know he's your boy, right?
Yes.
Among 23 running backs last year with 200 plus carries, Barkley ranked 23rd in EPA per rush, 18th in yards per carry, 10th in yards after contact per attempt, 16th in success rate, and 13th in explosive rush rate. As a pass catcher, Barkley set career lows in yards per catch and yards per route run, and he didn't really do great, right? And the last 2 years, he's down about 2 points, averaging from 15.9 or 17.8 to 15.9. So now that's the floor, right? I think.
Allow me to retort. Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying that's the floor, right? That's where he's struggled, right? I want to hear the other side. This is not even me arguing. These are just the facts.
No, yes.
Right?
Here
give me
is
the
my
hope. Give me the hope and say
here's my retort. All valid and indicative of the fact that Saquon Barkley may have played on the worst team ever to be a starting running back in the NFL in the history of the NFL. That I don't think that there was a worse situation in all the years of football than being the starting running back for the New York Giants in 2023. The line was god awful. They had no wide receivers. They couldn't. They had Daniel Jones and his banged up neck.
It's terrible. They still have him, by the way, and they complain about it on Hard Knocks.
Every possible thing that was wrong for someone with his ability and skill was wrong, and he is now going to a team. The only reason why Saquon is not in the first round, as he has been every year since he has been in the NFL, minus his rookie year, the only reason why he's not 8 or 7 or 4 is because people are factoring in the tush push with Jalen Hurts, right?
I don't think they're going to do a lot of tush pushing.
I don't think they're going to do it either. They don't have Kelsey.
They don't need to.
I think Saquon
now.
I think Saquon. Go look at. I don't know. Might be. Who's the PFN? I'm not sure who did the rankings, but it doesn't matter. The consensus agrees the Eagles have the best line, or if not the best line, one of the best lines in the National Football League. And now Saquon Barkley gets to hit holes that, on top of that, he has the Jalen Hurts can rush. They can do read option plays with him. Right. He's going to be able to get receiving plays that are he, like, we've just been missing for years. Fully healthy.
He have a screen game. He won't just have a dump off game. They won't go, oh shit, take it. He'll go, we're going to design a play for you. We're going to give you a play.
The only thing that is scary about Saquon is, what we saw for the last 2 years with the Eagles. Whoever gets them down to the 1 yard line does not get the touchdown, right? So I don't think I do think with Saquon there, I think that's another reason why take out Kelsey, bring in Saquon. There's going to be less tush pushes. It's just the way it is.
Here's the only thing I don't want to do. I don't want to double up with AJ Brown and Saquon, but I would go.
That's a rough braid.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. That's a tough one. But I would do Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon and go back to back RB. If you're in this position, I think the wide receivers in the beginning of this round are strong. And then the wide receiver cliff you fall into here is abyss. Don't like it at all. I'll pivot to, if I'm in the 12 or 11 or whatever in that, I'll get 2 fucking stud running backs and then come get the wide receivers on the next round, which we'll talk about later.
Scroll down. Let's see who else is in round 2 here. Okay.
Davante Adams, thumbs down. Let me talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. for a second, right? Because I'm not I'm not in charge of the data for Marvin Harrison Jr., but based on the Vegas's numbers for him that they put out, this is DraftKings, his over-under for yards, 1,005. His touchdowns, 6.5. His receptions, 82.5. You average all that out, 225 fantasy points. That is wide receiver 21 in 2023. So those are all his numbers, right? Vegas does not miss normally. You tell me all these best ball bros know way more than Vegas knows. Now, maybe they all do, and it's going to happen. And I do think he can hit all those numbers, right? But that's still only wide receiver 21 or 22. That's not wide receiver 9. That's not second round. Like that's not what I'm doing. And even if Kyler Murray he gets him 10 touchdowns, that's still not going to be wide receiver 9. So I cannot jump into the Harrison bandwagon. And then, I'll talk to you about Davante Adams. It's depressing. But what do you think about Harrison? Because I'm not asked you. You and Pete Overs that might be, hugging. You might be best ball bro.
I remember you peeped me to this stat a while ago, and I've been thinking about it. And what it has led me to conclude is that I'm going to take the over in all of those. I logged into my DraftKings right now. I don't know if the line has changed, but the 1,000 yard prop, it's you're getting less odds. It's like minus 110 now. So I mean, the field is definitely buying into the fact that he's going to get over 1,000 yards. Here's I think a
it's
very
80 yards a game. He should get that.
Dude, homeboy is set up, I think, to be okay. I think this is if I'm setting the lines of Vegas, this is what I think. Okay.
Yeah.
90 receptions.
That's better.
1,200 yards.
I'd say 1,150, but okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say I bet you he gets north of 12. And then I think 9 touchdowns. Safe
9. Bet the over on all those. See if you can parlay it and do a little 3-bet over. We'll log into DraftKings.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get injured.
Yeah, that's all. But that's
he really is in terms of what we've seen at the collegiate level. He is the most talented wide receiver.
Well, he's the only one that I'm drafting here. I'm not going to draft Garrett Wilson, and I'm not drafting Davante Adams either.
I'm in on Davante too, bro. I'm in on Davante too.
Wait, don't say that yet. Let me just give you some stats. Okay. Tell me what you think about this. Okay. So Davante Adams has no longer Aaron Rodgers. We know this, right? But at his height, he averaged 25.6 fantasy points per game. Last year, he averaged 15.6. And it's been going down 25.6, 21.5, 19.7, 15.6. I think it'll go up. I think it'll go up a little bit, right? But he had 175 targets last year. His point per target, 1.51, right? In 2020, his point per target was 2.42. Homeboy is down. He is trending down. It's hard. I've drafted him in 2 leagues already. I think I have him Scott Fish, and I have him in another league here with my guy Shane. So he's just falling. He's falling like a brick, and I've got him on the cheap. So, but I am scared. I'm not reaching for him there. I think I'd rather have Kyren Williams. I think I'd rather have Travis Etienne 100%. Isiah Pacheco 100%. Yeah, those guys for sure. But
I would too. I think both those guys are low in this round.
It's stupid. I don't understand what Travis Etienne has to do to get respected in the NFL. I finished RB3 last year. He's coming back. Nothing's going to stop him. I mean, there's no one else. It's not like they drafted a bunch of running backs. He's going to rerun it again. I hope he comes to me in the end of the second round in BFS, man, because that's the quickest scoop up of Travis Etienne in my life, man. That's crazy.
You know who I'm all in on there too?
He's a braid. He's a braid for me.
I'm in on Derrick Henry. I'm in on Kyren Williams.
Me too. I'm in on.
I like all of those guys. I will say though, with Davante, didn't he have like 30% target share or
Yes.
something like that.
He
of the
will.
team.
He still will. He'll still get
So
175 targets.
all he
He's not
needs,
efficient anymore.
yeah, but like you watched receiver, right?
Yeah,
Like
I watched.
he was just open and just not getting the ball. That, to me, that's not going to happen at the same rate that it happened last year.
I know, but
And all he needs is for him to get the ball.
his
So
touchdowns dropped from 14 to 8, 1,500 yards to 1,100. Like it was the same amount of targets, same amount of catches. His yards per.
but I mean, who are his quarterbacks? Easton Stick and
Aiden O'Connell, and he's still
Aiden
there.
O'Connell and Jimmy Garoppolo. Like,
right, Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew are still there. It's not like they're gonna set the world on fire.
I think Gardner Minshew greater than sign all of those guys.
I
and
agree. I think he'll be there eventually, but
I guarantee you he's going to be able to get the ball to Davante Adams way more. So I'm comfortable with Davante. I'm comfortable with Davante.
I'm comfortable, but not that early. I'm reaching back for him later.
Let me all right, because we don't have that much more time. Let me hear your thoughts on Kyren Williams.
Yes,
Where are you at with him?
Oh, I'm a big fan of Kyren Williams. He's gonna get hurt, by the way. He's a braid, but he's a braid, and you also want to draft Blake Corum and have him as a handcuff. Just stash him on your bench the whole year because he's gonna get hurt. He's played 10 games and 12 games, and he gets hurt. That's fine. He does. But when he's not hurt, 21.2 fantasy points per game in that offense. This is the thing you need to understand. Todd Gurley is 29 fucking years old. Did you hear me, kids? He is not 30 yet. He is in his 20s. He's been retired for 9 years, right? They ground him into gristmill. That is what the Rams do to running backs, right?
I think what you just said,
use it.
I think you just it's 100% take Kyren Williams, and if you have to draft Blake Corum in the 9th round, just like make sure you get Blake Corum, and you're good, because I think Blake Corum is going to be nasty too, and
the offense is going to be good. They run the football effectively.
They run the football effectively.
Do a good job.
Sean McVay really is, a genius, and the running back always does well. So
let me just say this: I drafted him, or I picked him up last year, whatever I did. I had him in the championship team. I won the championship with, and at the end of the year, 28 points. You know what I mean? You're just 30 points in PPR, 30 points. I mean, come on, man. Right. Come on, bro. He was just eating 30, 16, 24, 14, 20, 38. Before he got hurt, 21, 27. You just got 28, 20. I mean, just, oh my God. Yeah. I'm a big fan. It is going to be better. They did it. They upgraded. They got some new guys in there too. So they will be better.
They're a sneaky team, right? Like they were right there last year. Like nobody saw that coming. They just caught fire. I
think they were supposed to win 6 games. They won 10. The 6.5, I think, was their over, and they crushed the over by 3.5. So
that Lions game was intense.
It was a great game. Yeah. They played them in the playoffs. Whew, I think they're playing them week 1 this year. Very exciting. But yeah, I'm in on Kyren Williams. I'm more in on these running backs, Saquon, Kyren, and Derrick Henry. By the way, Derrick Henry averages the last 6 years 13.3 touchdowns per game. Derrick Henry is going to score minimum 12 touchdowns just because that's what he does.
Slide him all the way up to me to like 13. Like that's
what he does. That's what he does.
I'm comfortable taking him over almost everybody in the 2nd round. Like that's where I'm at with him.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one too. He is ahead of Kyren Williams. He's not ahead of, but he's going to be. Right. I just don't, Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, even maybe Puka, all these running backs, they can just go up. And then, you talked about Chris Olave, thumbs down for you.
He's out for me.
Drake London's out for me too.
He's out for me too. He was
wide receiver like 69 last year. So
I will draft him at the beginning of like the 3rd round, but I would go somebody else in the 2nd round for me. I think it's just too much draft capital. Kirk Cousins has an Achilles. It's on his planting foot. He might have trouble with deep balls.
Right. And he's still not back. Won't even be a year because he injured it mid-season.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of wild that they're, and then we have no idea what Penix is going to look like if he is the solution. So I'm out. I'm not doing Drake London in the second round.
I
Go
mean,
back. All right. I want to know. Here's who I want to know for you,
yeah.
because I think this is a really interesting. We're Kelsey at 23.
Okay. So Kelsey, LaPorta, Mike Evans, these guys are kind of all down in here. They reshuffled on my computer again, Mike. So
Right.
I don't know why. But I have some interesting stats on Kelsey, and I want you to tell me what you think about this, right? I didn't know if Mr. Taylor Swift was just keeping it all, maybe banged up in the regular season, keeping it all for like the limelight, just got to win when you got to win. But he, in the regular season, 14.6 fantasy points per game. It was good for tight end 3, I think, last year. And he averaged more than LaPorta, by the way. LaPorta, even though he was tight end 1, averaged 14.1 per game. So Kelsey didn't have a terrible season. You just drafted him maybe a little too early. But postseason, homeboy had 21.5 points per game. He had 3 touchdowns in 4 postseason games compared to 5 TDs in 15 regular season games he played in. So I want to understand, is he just kind of saving it now for the playoffs? Because
100%.
they
are going to bubble wrap him. Okay.
Yeah, that really, you just see those splits and you're like, holy shit, he's still like the man. But
dude,
what are you going to do in the regular season? You're not going to get him destroyed. You know what I mean?
I am fading him as tight end 1, dude.
Yeah,
I'm not drafting him in the second round.
Not good. It's not.
I'll tell you what.
7 points more in the postseason. That's crazy.
Fantasy Millionaires prediction right here. It is going to be Patrick Hat-Trick Mahomes. I believe the Chiefs win the Super Bowl this year.
You dirty dog.
I love the addition of the Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy at wide receiver.
We'll get into them later.
I think they are completely set up to win 3. I think the NFL is going to set them up to win 3.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I think
come out with the Super Bowl colors will just be Chiefs red and yellow.
I think the drama, the Brady Mahomes drama, is going to get so much more intense after he wins 3. He is Tiger Woods hot in the peak of his career right now, and I believe Kelsey is bubble wrapped for the season. They don't need him. They don't need him. He'll. I think tight end 3, fine. Yeah, I bet you end up right around there.
Yeah. Well, you don't need him because you have Isiah Pacheco, and Isiah Pacheco the last half of the season, because you want to see how people ended the season, right? Isiah Pacheco averaging 19.5 points the last 9 games of the season, and he was RB4 during that time.
Give me all of Pacheco.
Me too, bro. Don't you be fighting me for these motherfuckers. These are my guys now. Like we're braiding and fading the same guys, and it scares me.
We are a little bit simpatico right now. We have some differences. We have some differences on Ja'Marr Chase. Who else do we have difference? I think I'm different on different feelings on Saquon.
Up a little higher on Saquon.
Davante.
I like Kyren. But
Kyren, I think we're the same. I'm with you, man. If you draft Blake Corum, you're good.
Yeah. And we'll just touch on Mike Evans because he's kind of on that fringe. We talked about him on the show before, and LaPorta, they're both there too. I like Mike Evans.
Give me all the Mike Evans.
Give me the Mike Evans. Yeah, him and Godwin both. Give me them both. I'll take them both. Yeah. I don't care. I'll get Baker on the back end as my QB too. Whatever. I don't give a shit. Like I'll beat you in the bye weeks. With my 2 studs and Baker. So I do like Evans. Let's talk LaPorta real quick. Are you comfortable if he falls to you getting him as your second tight end? If someone goes Kelsey or Andrews or whatever, like, do you feel like he can repeat? Because he did have a great season.
Yes, I do. He's red zone dependent, but he is also built to be red zone dependent. I mean, like like Mark Andrews and Kelsey. I mean, that's a guy that's bigger than everybody on the field, and for him to do what he did, as a rookie, I mean, is that the greatest rookie season minus Mike Ditka? I mean, it's up there,
So 86 yards, 889. Or sorry, 86 yards. Yeah, 86 yards.
86 catches, 10 touchdowns, almost 900 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, if that goes up, I mean, I think that's around his floor. Maybe he has 8 touchdowns. Um,
He
but-
tied with Rob Gronkowski for the most touchdowns, and he was second most in yards to Kyle Pitts. So, I mean, not bad company, boys.
right.
Yeah. I'm not going to be probably building with a tight end here just because I'll probably be getting either, RB or wide receiver. But if he comes and kind of falls to me there in the third round, Sam LaPorta will be a snatch up real fast in the third. He's one of those guys who, some people don't want to go tight end, or some people are psychos that go double tight end, and they get Kelsey and LaPorta, and you're like, okay, God bless you, weirdo. So, yeah. Well, this has been great. I'm so excited. We're back in the pocket again. We're arguing. We've got different stats and views, just like always. But overall, we're kind of simpatico. Get those wide receivers in the first round. Get the running backs too. This pocket here is delicious between McCaffrey and even Taylor, AJ Brown. Bijan drops a little bit, and then there's some risers in the running
First
backs.
11 picks on 4 for 4 are just absolutely sexy, and that's where I would shuffle it a little bit.
Yeah, excellent. Well, one thing we always do is, pump the Twitter, and we're going to do a little tweets before we get out of here. Well, they're not called tweets anymore. They're just called X's, I guess. But Rated X is coming in your way. But this is Fantasy Millionaires, FF Millionaires. Give us a follow. We're 61 away from 1,000. That'd be great to get this year. And yeah, we're here. Nimble W Numbers. It's me and the Ralph Macho. Give him a follow too. 5 p.m. Monday live. That's the show time. That's what we did this week.
Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're up to 162, baby. Come on,
Please
let's
do.
keep it rolling.
Let's get to 200 before the season starts, right? You can follow me over at Nimble W Numbers, and then you can follow my man over here at the Ralph Macho. He looks like Karate Kid. He's not Ralph Macho. His name is Mike Cash Collins. And by the way, I did not show this yet, but
nice.
Yeah, I'm wearing the shirt all year. Yours is behind me. I'll give it to you when I see you on Friday. We are going to the Fantasy Football Expo. Please come say hi to us. Yes, I'm Stax. He's Cash. I'm Scott. He's Mike. We love to talk to you. His name's not Ralph, but we will laugh if you call him Ralph. And then we'll just, talk about you later behind your back. But please do give us a follow. And without further ado, I'll go to my tweet first. I don't know if you saw this picture yesterday. I got suckered into it too. Did you see this yesterday?
I saw this tweet of yours today. I liked it. I'm pretty sure I hearted this.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you'd seen it. So yesterday, basically, some guy tweeted out this kid had dropped his ice cream that he paid for, and he just told him to eat it. So I was like, I got duped. I was like, that's such a jerk move, man. Like, be kind, don't be a jerk, whatever. And someone's like, yeah, he's just a troll. I was like, oh man, he got me in the field. So I was like, I'm gonna do this tweet today too. So I kind of was inspired by somebody who triggered me.
Yeah, the dad would not get what a different dad. His kid, he made how old is that kid? 4. He saved up his life savings, his $5, all his teeth. He saved up all his teeth that he's dropped, and he bought himself an ice cream cone. The dad won't buy him an ice cream cone, and then
Dad's like, no.
And first of all, there was controversy. Apparently the kid ate half his ice cream cone. He was lying about it. There was some scuttlebutt on the veracity
on the social media, right?
But regardless, his dad decided that he was not going to buy his poor son another $5 ice cream cone. Unbelievable. Okay, so this is your tweet in response to that.
Yeah, I was inspired by it. So it's like one of those like the names and dates and changes, but this is a real true story.
Got the kid's face. Poor kid.
Yeah, let's look at the little kid's face.
He's gonna become a meme.
I memed him already.
He's gonna become a meme.
Yeah, somebody got mad at me because I tweeted out this guy's kid, and I said he put him out, and this is me memeing him now. He's being memed. That's what it's called. And they said I was a sicko, whatever. But it said this kid saved up all year to play in his first fantasy football league, spent $50, accidentally drafted Josh Jacobs in the first round instead of Justin Jefferson because he can't read yet. I'm the commission. I didn't reset his pick. Life is hard. He took it well. Some people don't know it's a joke. A lot of them don't know it's a joke. And they're attaboying me. So
it's in your family league.
Yeah. Nice. So people are just, they're enjoying it, but and also they saw some of the other jokes too. So, but some people do not know it's the joke. Look, I do the same thing. Live lessons, come hard when you don't pay attention. I know Anthony too.
Yeah, he's joking.
I know. I love it. And I got to tell the story. He said, someone said, like 20 years ago, a dude took Bubby Brister in round 1, and I'll never, ever forget that. Having 10 speechless young guys in a room was so rare, but it happened that day. And I had to tell on our boy Josh, who's still in our home league. And I said, some guy in my league from Arkansas who is a super Arkansas Razorbacks fan, and he once took Darren McFadden with the 212 when he was a rookie. The room, yeah, we mocked him. And then I added, he said, Hog is strong. I said, bro also drafted kicker Sean Sweezman in the 9th round and went 2-11 that season and finished dead last. So I was having fun too. Yeah. And it's always nice to go viral because, now we're up to 4,000 likes. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's solid.
All right. Let's see. What's your offering here?
All right.
Which one are we working with here?
I just sent it to you. I don't know. That one, yeah. Make sure the sound's on.
I'm gonna mute it because it'll just jump up right.
You got it. Yeah, it's pretty quick. So make sure the sound is on all the way up.
They're good to go.
This is what we do on 3 Tweets. Just stuff like this.
Just letting you know. Okay, here we go. Oh, but who is this, by the way? Is this
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Okay, not sure.
What do you think that your best feature is? I mean, you're a big back. You're good run back. What do you think that your best feature is? I mean, you're a big back. You're good run back. What do you think that your best feature is?
It looks real. You never know nowadays.
That
was my favorite.
Black. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that guy's face too. Not good. Not good.
It can totally be fake. That's gonna be the new caveat on this. We have no idea what's real anymore.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. If it's fake, it's great too. It's so funny.
If it's fake, it's great. Let's see where it's from though.
Back. What do you think that your best feature is? I mean, you're a big back. You're good run back.
Oh, it's Anchorman too.
Wow. Oh no, I think you win 3 tweets, which is now rated X. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna send it to you. I wasn't sure which one I was gonna pick. All right. Here's my winner.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if you've seen this guy yet. Get ready.
No,
okay. Good. I wanted to show you this guy. This guy is starting to blow up. This a-hole is bananas. He's got multiple videos of stuff like this. They're all absolutely insane. Just watch. Press play.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
What's that, brother? 1,000,000% you won't do ground black pepper. That's getting it fucking done, mate. And this is the last fucking challenge I'm doing.
Is he gonna snort it?
It's fucking killing me off.
What?
But do you know what? In all fairness, I'm not looking fucking forward to this one, right? But let's get fucking into it. Come on. Right, ground black pepper. Get a fucking load of that. I will fucking. Right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Oh God, this is bad. Oh God.
He's not gonna live.
He's not.
Snot rocket.
Oh, fucking hell. That. Oh, fucking don't do that shit, guys.
Don't do that.
It's coming up from my throat. Fucking hell.
He does this, bro. He does this with anything you dare him to do this with, he'll do it. He's gonna die. He is going to one of these times is going to be like, I just want you to peep him to him because he's going to trend on Twitter after he dies. He is wild. He did the bomb, the hot sauce. That was the one I saw today. He drank like a quarter of the bomb.
Oh my gosh, dude. His butthole did not recover from that ever. That is just a terrible thing to do. Oh my goodness. Well, we're back. We're 100% back. We've got laughter and snot rockets and, people shaming their kids online. We are just 100% the Millionaires. And if you didn't catch us, we're fantasy champions. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to share our knowledge with you. So get those running backs, get those running backs, get those running backs. Don't tell Denny Carter. Big running back is back. All right. We'll see you guys next week. I think it's going to be Wednesday, maybe Tuesday. We'll talk. We're going to be at the Fantasy Expo. And so we'll be there this weekend, and Monday we'll be traveling. We won't be able to do the show. So probably sometime next week, but we'll let you guys know. We'll tweet it out. Mike, you want to close the show? You always like to do a good job closing the show.
Yeah, man. Yep. See you guys next probably Wednesday for rounds 2 through 4. Welcome back.
No, three. We did rounds 2. 3.
I mean,
three
sorry,
through,
I keep saying
3
that.
through
Round
5.
3 through 5.
3 through 5.
Welcome back to season 5 of the Fantasy Millionaires. And as always, peace and love.
Yes. We'll see you guys next time. And don't eat black ground pepper.